The last episode dropped in 2025 was with a filmmaker named Matt Schichter. And Matt directed a documentary that's literally debuting on TVO on Tuesday. We're talking on a Friday, so we're only days away from CFNY, The Spirit of Radio documentary. A 60-minute cut is going to air on TVO. There's a lot to unpack here. Do you want to start the clip?
Let's do it.
And I'm going to speculate here, and you tell me if this might be right. Was there a version, and you're going to say, of course there was, because this is how filmmaking works, but you probably delivered a version before this version I saw that was probably passionately disliked by these stakeholders.
I don't think so, or at least not publicly. Like there's enough. There was a Vimeo link where everyone got to make notes on and say, I don't like this at like 34:27 or 59:60. Well, 60 doesn't make any sense. 59:43 or whatever, like with timestamps of I don't like this or I don't like that, and change this, change that, which happy to do. But again, end of the day, someone has to be in charge. And if someone's not in charge, nothing gets done. So someone has to make decisions because there's deadlines and there's money on the line, and it's a bonded film. So if it's not delivered the day it says it's delivered, people start losing money. And decisions just have to be made sometimes. So I think there's a world where this could have been a very different movie from different interviews or from different points of view, or if people wanted to give more dirt on stuff that happened. Like there's none of that in this film, but no one wants to talk about any of that kind of stuff. I'm sure there was some. I mean, it's the 80s, right? I'm sure there was some sort of like other shit going on, but no one wants to talk about any of that, and which is fine. And that's not what this movie is. But it's what's my point here?
Well, no, I'm going to help you because I keep referring to it as a love letter to CFNY, and I think everybody with like the nostalgic vibes, the love for CFNY will feel good watching this film because they're going to see all their old friends. You're going to see the old yellow house, and then you're going to see the strip mall in Brampton, and you're going to, I think it's a good hit of nostalgia for anybody who misses the old CFNY. Like it's a love letter. But when you write a love letter to somebody, and I've written a love letter or two in my time, Matt, I'll tell you right now, there's no warts in there. This isn't a warts and all experience. And
no.
And your bosses, am I right? So those 5 executive producers are like, well, I guess you work for that company, what's the name again?
Highball TV.
Your boss is Highball, and I guess Highball's bosses are those 5 executive producers. Am I right at all?
No.
Okay, tell me.
So in this case, the executive producer is basically just a vanity credit. Okay. Usually an executive producer is someone who puts money into the film. We wanted to give them a credit that had some gravitas too, because it was their idea. They did create the pitch. This is their thing. An executive producer felt right, but technically, the hierarchy of a film, it would be the producer, which is Highball, director, and then the EPs are somewhere in there too. But like this one, this is a little different because they didn't actually put money in.
And Highball is putting up the money, right?
Highball is putting up the money, yeah.
Where do we start with this one? We should do 3 hours on the Schichter episode, which I actually made a point to. Not only was I there in real time, but it did sit on the shelf a little bit. I had to re-listen to it before I dropped it. And then I decided I'm going to listen to it again because of an email I got, which I'll read in a minute. But I'm curious for your 2 thoughts on the Matt Schichter episode. And then I may extrapolate more on why I think there's something rotten in the state of Brampton.
So obviously pure speculation on my part. But to me, having worked in the agency world for a long time and working on projects with clients who, you work to scope out what this project's going to be. There's a brief that you write, and then everyone agrees that, yes, this brief is correct. And then you proceed with the work based on that brief. And then some clients are really good about it, and they're very experienced, and they're like, yep, okay, that's great. There's actually some stuff that I wish we could have included, but given our timeline and our budget, we can't include them now, so we'll put them in later in a future phase. You can't do that with a documentary. Obviously, you're done. I mean, you could make a second version of the documentary, but nobody's going to pay for that. So it seems to me that you had a brief. I don't know how it works in documentary land, but there's some kind of agreement that this is the direction or the narrative that we're going to tell.
Yeah, episode 1021 of Toronto Mike.
Yeah, exactly.
Do this in 90 minutes.
Yeah. And
get Geddy Lee, for fuck's sake.
And as the people who are most invested in it the EPs, viewed it, they realized that, this is not necessarily the story we wanted to tell or the way.
And 3 of those EPs worked at the station in our FOTMs.
So, they're very invested. They care a lot, as they should. And so they want to tell the best story they can. It sounds like they got down to a point where they ran out of time. They ran out of money. They still wanted to make changes. They couldn't make those changes. And so Matt S., the director, Matt Schichter, kind of caught the brunt of that. And, because he was beholden to his schedule and his budget.
The buck stops there.
Yeah,
right? He's the director of this film.
At a certain point, as he said, we're done. We can't make any more changes. This picture has to go out.
Cam, I value your opinion on all of this.
I'll just say, and God, again, you're going to throw something at me because I feel like I'm going to lapse into calm speak here, but I actually did flinch. I look forward to seeing this documentary. I think Tuesday. One thing Tyler mentioned, I can't stop thinking of this documentary and the Much Music one in tandem. Two very different situations.
No, but there's parallels.
I think there's parallels in terms of there's IP, whether it's Much Music or CFNY Spirit of Radio, things people, certainly of our generation and a bit older, a bit younger, care, say even deeply would be an understatement. Mm-hmm. I think, I speak for everyone in this room where these are formative entities, not just in our educations, music bands, in our lives in terms of personalities, 100%. Entertainment. And I don't know, I think I suggested this to you, Mike. I feel like once this all goes over and the documentary's out and whatnot, doing almost is that a recon or a retcon? What's the recap? Is it
Not a retcon. A retcon is when you change the origin story or something, and you retcon in a new origin.
Or what's a recap of
recap?
A postmortem?
Yeah, postmortem, sure.
I did with the Gino Vanelli episode. I did it with Velvet.
Yes.
Using the Much Music doc and this one, why is it so fucking hard to make documentaries?
Well, can I say 2 things about those 2 docs? Because I think I might be the only human on the planet who saw both.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair statement. On the planet Earth,
probably, yeah.
One person saw both the 299 and the whatever, at least the version Matt Schichter delivered. More on that in a minute.
Yeah.
But so Bell Media had to sign off on the 299 Queen Street West doc, and Chorus signed off on the CFNY doc.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is that's one parallel. But the other one is both docs strike me as love letters. There's no warts. this is this is a happy-go-lucky, nostalgic romp. Both of them. I've seen them both. There is we're not going to talk about lines of coke at 299 Queen Street West or it's all that stuff. We're not touching it with a 10-foot pole. It's all glowing, positive, happy-go-lucky memories of these wonderful institutions.
Yeah, exactly. I almost think, God, this is sort of morbid, but similar to you see on the Oscars and whatnot, year in review, sort of in memorandum, just celebrating a life that was. I think both of those, but in both cases had these issues with it, whether it's rights or just personalities involved or agency support. I know with Much Music there was a lot of because you spoke to some of these people who weren't in the Much Music documentary.
Catherine McClanahan.
Yeah. So again, I just think it's a product because people care so immensely deeply and have such a deep personal relationships with these things specifically that it's almost like no end product would ever meet whatever satisfy everyone.
Yeah, Erica M was an executive producer of that 299 Queen Street West, right?
Yeah, and these are also big topics too. Much music isn't any one thing. CFNY is not any one thing.
Right.
So it's tough. I just hope everyone involved because it just sucks because I think there's no ill intent here. It's just classic, but perhaps a bit of creative differences. I don't know.
And Tyler, I want to hear from you in a moment, but as I dive into this whole. So there is a 60-minute version of the CFNY documentary airing on TVO on Tuesday. I think on Monday they air it at Chorus Key, which I was not invited to, by the way.
A viewing party.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised I wasn't invited.
Yeah.
Because Scott Turner, Ivor Hamilton, and Alan Cross are
award-winning podcasters.
That's right. One day, but they're great friends of the podcast.
And probably no one has spent more time talking about CFNY publicly than you.
And yes, thank you. And also, as outlined with Matt Schichter, the timing is interesting that episode 1021 drops, and then that summer they say we got to make a doc, and Matt Schichter gets the gig, and then he's filming by the end of that year. It all times. And Matt Schichter didn't hide the fact that I was like his greatest research point. Like if he's going to go take a train to talk to Geets Romo, he's going to listen to Geets Romo in the basement talking to Toronto Mike for 90 minutes. And it was like, God's gift to a filmmaker. Like it's all right there. You just have to prune it or whatever, because he doesn't get 4 hours for his documentary.
He didn't make the credits though.
I didn't make the credits. But when you see the 60-minute version that I saw, you couldn't read those credits to save your life. I slowed it down to 0.25, and I could not read the credits. It's unbelievable if that's how it goes. But I'm here. There's a three-headed monster. You have the EPs, one of whom is Barbara Hall, not the mayor. Right. I had to point that out.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. Yeah, because I'm like, maybe he's, you got to clarify these things. But the three people, and I can't remember, there's another woman, but the three people I know is Alan Cross, Scott Turner, and Ivor Hamilton. Yeah. Again, and I made a point to tell the listenership they're nice guys I like.
Yes. They've all been on the show many times.
Yeah. And I like all three. They've all been over multiple times, and I like all three very much.
Yeah.
But so you got the EPs, and even though it's a, what do you call that? A
vanity
title, executive producer. So you got the EPs, but they care the most because they were there, and this is like their story and their love letter to David Marsden. So they care the most about getting this right. They hired a guy younger than us to make this doc, which means he didn't listen to this Spirit of Radio.
Yeah.
Because he didn't listen. He's like in his early 40s. So Matt Schichter is hired to direct this thing. So you got the director, Matt Schichter. You've got the EPs, and then you have highball.tv. The people who own the doc, they paid for it. They own it. And although I thought Matt was very diplomatic in the chat, whenever Highball came up, his tone would change in that episode.
Yes, I did notice that.
Yes, you couldn't miss it. So if you're reading between the lines, okay. Is now a good time for me to get into this email I got?
I think it's a great time.
Okay. And Lauren wants me to redact the name of the sender. Okay, Lauren. So I got this email maybe 2 days ago. I got this email. So I dropped this Matt Schichter episode. I think I technically dropped it before going to bed on the 30th.
I saw it show up in my feed on the 30th.
So I drop it on the 30th because it's going to be like the New Year's Eve special or whatever. But it was New Year's Eve in Greenwich Mean Time, okay? Okay. So this email drops in my inbox, and its subject line is unauthorized interview : CFNY documentary. So he's got my attention.
Red flags.
Because it says unauthorized interview. And already my back's up a bit because it's like, I'm the boss around here. I authorize the interviews around here. I authorized this episode of Matt Schichter.
You did. Yeah.
Cam's agreeing. Okay, I'll read on now. It'll make more sense. Okay, so my name is name redacted. That's a weird name, right?
Yeah.
Who put that on a birth certificate? Okay, my name is name redacted. I am one of the principals at Highball TV and the producer of CFNY, the Spirit of Radio. It has come to my attention that one of the creatives we hired for the film has a 91-minute interview on your podcast, but one which was unauthorized by the production and distribution partners. We'll come back to this in a minute. Okay. The film has been licensed to TVO for a broadcast premiere next week, and all press for the film must go through Highball TV so that we can get TVO sign-off, and as a result, we need to ask to have this interview taken down. I'm sorry about this complication, but your interview subject was not granted authority to share the film, and to boot, he shared a work-in-progress edit of the film instead of the final cut. TVO and Highball TV would be delighted to hook you up with Alan Cross and the CFNY team if you're interested in talking with subjects about the completed version of the film. Thanks so much for your attention. And again, I apologize for the confusion this caused. Name redacted. So, I got that email. And I honestly didn't know how to reply. I'll tell you how I replied in a minute. But so many things jumped out. One is that the director of the film, Matt Schichter, who was my guest for that episode we're talking about on New Year's Eve, is referred to in this email as, ready? One of the creatives we hired for the film. Which makes it sound like he's the lighting guy or something. Okay, one of the creatives we hired for the film, he's the director.
Right.
It's interesting that it doesn't say the director of the film. It says one of the creatives we hired for the film.
Very curious.
Has a 91-minute interview on your podcast. But which was unauthorized. I kind of feel like I wish I'd heard from TVO, but I am suspecting TVO does not care about the fact I talked to the director of this documentary. But that's a speculation on my part. But I never heard from TVO. But this whole idea that Highball TV has to approve, like I talk to the director of the film.
Right.
So this idea that somehow I can't talk to on my fiercely independent podcast, I can't speak to the director of this film for 91 minutes because he was not authorized to talk about the movie that will say at the end when we watch it on Tuesday, it's going to say directed by Matt Schichter. Yes. What are your thoughts on this, Cam Gordon?
I'll just say, like, I don't think I have enough information to really have an opinion that, like, I don't know anything about, contract statuses, ownership, So in terms of offering a judgment on this, I don't know. I mean, I'm not privy to how
you will
this
admit
works.
It's not my problem. Like, if there's a problem between the director and Highball TV,
right?
That's not involving fiercely independent,
perhaps, yeah,
award-winning podcaster Toronto Mike.
Yeah, which I think this individual is referring to in terms of unauthorized, in terms of perhaps like a contract size. Again, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. It's sort of extremely inside baseball, if not entirely private. So I don't know. Again, like I just hope this all resolves itself. I just think.
But what happened here? Like, I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
Matt Schichter, not only he shared. He's excited to be an FOTM, Matt Schichter. Like, he was a great convo.
Yeah,
and he's been sharing it on a social. He shared it on LinkedIn. He shared it on Instagram. Like, he wants people to hear his debut on Toronto Mike. And I was careful. I know it's going to be heard by people I respect and care about. I know it's going to be heard by, Scott Turner, for example, who I think is an absolute sweetheart. He was episode 102 of Toronto Mike, by the way. And Ivor Hamilton, who I spent some time with recently, and he's a great guy. And Alan Cross, who always answers my emails, and he's a great guy. So a few quick fun facts on this, and then we'll obviously get your final thoughts and move on, because it's been a very long episode. But I asked the EPs if I could see the version that will air on TVO. I knew it would be a 60-minute edit, and I was told it was not done yet. But I did receive the 60-minute version delivered to Highball by Matt Schichter, and I think he timestamped it as February 2025. So that's what I watched. But I was very clear in the episode that I don't know what's going to air on TVO because I didn't get a copy of it, and I do look forward to watching this episode. But I will reiterate that I'm glad this doc exists and that David Marsden gets his flowers while he's still with us. I love that man, and he's a great guest, and he's an important figure in all this. And it's just something stinky. The interesting thing Matt said is that when TIFF rejected it in 2024, he did get this documentary, his 90-minute version, into film festivals that are rather, they're not TIFF or Cannes, but they're big ones, right? And he was told, this can't air publicly. So I caught wind from a few sources that it was unwatchable and needed external editors to fix it. So the next domino to fall in all this is when I watch the TVO version, and I can say what is different between that version and the 60-minute version that was delivered to Highball TV by Matt Schichter in February 2025.
Feels like we've been talking about the existence of this documentary for like 4 years.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
A very long time. And yeah, like obviously the story will continue because we'll see what gets aired. Have you consulted legal counsel?
For what?
Well, just like obviously
the removal request.
Yeah, like
you can't tell me to remove it.
No, I know that. And I'm not suggesting you should. I just wonder, like, and I agree with you. It's not your problem. It's between Matt Schichter and Highball TV,
right?
And you play no part in that.
I think I'm collateral damage in this battle.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, no, I guess, no reason for you to talk to Lauren Hunt.
I haven't. I mean, okay, I'll also tell you how I replied to that. I replied and said, Happy New Year. Yeah, because I don't,
no, Happy New Year.
I might love that guy. Yeah. I don't know him at all. This redacted name.
Please.
Happy New Year. Are you able to jump on a quick call? So I wanted a voice to voice right away to find out, like, just talk it out, because explain where I'm coming from and why I'm not removing it, and see if he wants to come on Toronto Mike to tell his side or whatever.
Of course.
And he said, I'm traveling right now, and I'm Wi-Fi only, so I don't have data. And then I replied to that and I said, how about WhatsApp or Zoom? No reply.
Interesting.
And that's over 24 hours ago. So
okay.
I tried to
you've done your part.
Chat him up, and he disappeared on me.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like looking at Cam because he's got this smirk on his face or whatever.
I don't have again. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with this. I don't know.
Well,
It's again,
most people have no idea there's behind the scenes drama here because no one really gives a fuck.
This is the most drama that is surrounded a TVO documentary.
Well, Matt thinks it's pretty good marketing, like giving people's attention. So, it's a lot of promotion. Like, and I was thinking about the fact that promo for this film needs to go through whatever, and then I surveyed the world for promo for this film. There's no promo for this film.
Yeah,
there's no. I mean, chorus stations are doing a whole win tickets to see it at Chorus Key on Monday, which is cool. I wish I was invited. I would happily be there. It was interesting to learn that the director was not invited either. But I wanted to go to that thing. But that'd be rad if I could get invited to that. But I'm not invited yet. But there's I don't see promotion for the film outside of Chorus.
No.
Okay.
Remarkable.